Hello everybody, this is what I've been up to. Getting the cases cleaned. So, if you remember in the last video, this knuckle was in pretty bad shape, so I decided to grind off the casting marks, clean it all up. And I believe right in here you could see where they used the screwdriver. I got all that cleaned up where the bearings are gonna sit. A little bit of, that's a better angle of it. Yeah, I just don't know why you would do that. They didn't do it over here or over there, so they must have looked something up on YouTube. So it's not the greatest job, but it's also a part that gets beat to begin with. Cleaned all this up, both sides. There's still red paint on here. I believe that this was powder coated red, but for me it's mainly the inside of it. These are going to get painted, and what I'm going with is a 1986 CR250 look. So it's the frame, which is down here, will be red, and one of the rims came in, which would be gold. So, but this is how I did everything. The first thing that I did is we'll go over this bike in a minute, and we'll go over this one as well. So to get rid of the casting marks, I used the grinder. It works faster. And then the Primex wheel, this is the rough wheel. This is what will smooth things out. And I didn't go over it with the fine wheel because I just ran it through the sandblaster. And after that, this is my vapor hone. It's just a bench top. I bought it refurbed a while ago. It was $900. It's done very, very well for me for when I'm doing carburetors. Cases are a little bit hard. Cylinders aren't bad. You know, you don't get anything huge in there, but if you're just doing little stuff, it works out well. Eventually, I'm going to get a bigger one, and the reason why is because that little Craftsman isn't going to do it. You need at least a 3-phase, and the CFM that you got to push out is quite a bit, and they're expensive. So, back to this. This will all be black. I haven't picked the color yet, and I'm going to get the Restyle kit. Now this was a running bike, and it did come with the Restyle kit, but it was the older one. So I'm going to get the newer one. I think is the 2025 CRF Restyle kit, and then we're going to go off of that red for the frame. And then I'm just going to use Boys and Reed side covers. They work well. This one is for that is magnesium. I have it, but I want it to match, and it helps break the black up a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a fat head for this or not. Thinking about it, I might do it. I am porting this out because it's going to be set up for race gas. So I might just go with the fat head. The bike did come with Electron, and I do business with Electron, and I'm going to send it out to them to rebuild it and set it up for race fuel. It might even be set up there now, I don't know. So you're probably wondering, why would I go to these extremes just to take it to a powder coater? Well, powder coater, they don't like getting dirty stuff. And I've used this guy. I use Upstate Powder Coating and Finishes out here in Rochester, New York. And, you know, it's time and labor for him. So I've got the tools here. I clean it up. You take a Dyna painter, they're going to really appreciate it. And they do a really good job with it. So, and like I said, I want the insides nice and clean. So when he does all this, this will all be taped off. plugged up. You know, everything in here is clean. Everything in there is clean. And that's what I'm going with. Same thing with this. It's the back side of it that I'm more interested in. And then these are going to get re-zinced. I have my own Caswell kit. They're out here, and I think they're in Victor now. Victor, New York, or Farmington, New York. And they do have the yellow zinc, so I got to give them a call and see if I can get some. If not, then it's all going to be nickel. Everything in here except for the axles, because I can get those brand new. And it's hard to tell, but there's wear marks. They groove in here. And sometimes, and I won't get rid of these, because eventually you won't be able to get them. So these will all be cleaned up, but I'm going to probably buy brand new. These will be nickel. These go in, they go in here on the other side. That's where they go. So we'll make that all nice and pretty. And again, these are impossible to find. I don't know why you would cut them, but he did. So we got to go with what they're using. This is for something else I'm doing. And the other reason I do a lot of the vapor honing is like I showed in the one video, and you can see it right there. That's cracked. So there's a lot of caked on dirt, burn on dirt. You get that off of there, and then you can inspect it. So I am going to go with the Duval, not the lowering kit, but the I believe it's the expansion kit or whatever they call it. I just found them. I didn't know much about them. So, and it's about $240, I think, delivered, which ain't bad. These I'm going to sandblast. It's a little rough right here. I'm going to clean all that up, and these will be powder coated black. The swing arm I got down here, and you know, there's some rough spots on it that I can't get out. So when I talk to probably Decal Works, get something to cover that. But you can see right here, they actually cut the shims off on the swing arm. Again, I don't know why you would do that. I got another deep gouge there. And then what I like to do, see this right here, there's those, it was gouged up. So I run the prime wheel over it. And this is another thing you want to look out for. Pay attention to this, because that guard that you have on here wears out and it wears through here. You can get this re-welded, but we're okay. So it'll be fine. And then here's the rim that I'm going with. So I have the gold rims. That one just came in. That's the rear, and then the front's coming in probably Monday. And that's the rear that came with it. It's actually a DID. It looks like it's in good shape. We'll see. The front is no good. It's actually over here, and that's not painted, but you can see right here, there's air in the tire. It's badly bent. Of course, a nut's missing from that. It's probably off of CRF. They are all compatible, I think, up to 07, and then they changed. And the hubs will be black. And then, you know, there's the box of parts that I threw together. And then when I took the Restyle kit off, to my surprise, I don't know why you would drill that many holes. You could see right here that they put a cover on it. Both sides are like that. So I've seen other guys do it. A lot of times they think that the bike needs more air. A lot of times it doesn't. And there's better ways of doing it. So I had to purchase another one. It's not new. And of course, it came in broke. And these are getting close, but I'll probably take this bottom part off, put it over here. That's just who I am. And it'll all be cleaned up, and then I'll keep these parts for the future, because you never know. This will be red probably. And the shocks are over here. And I'm not sure, I'd like to get them re-anodized, but it's very expensive to get that done. So, then when we're done, we'll talk about this one. So this one here, it's a 1998 YZ 125. It was in pretty bad shape when I got it. It came with two motors. It came with a 99 and a 98. And the guy wanted $1,200 for it. They weren't really budging off the price. So I said, okay, he has two motors, and I will just take what I need and sell the rest. And that's what I did. I got about $600 or $700 in parts off of the motor that I parted out. But this one here, it's got the graphite black Cerakote on it. I think it's a royal blue powder coat frame. I forget. I've had the bike near 2.5 years now. When I was building it, my father passed away, so he never got to see it, and it's got sentimental value to me because it, you know, when I was trying to get him off my mind, I worked on it. You know, it's not really a good idea because I made a lot of mistakes and I had to fix a lot of things and add a lot of things, but I got it all figured out. So one of the things about this bike is that cylinder is for 99, and it's brand new. It was OEM, and I got it delivered to my front door out of Rocky Mountain for $220. It was the last one they had. I don't think they have any more. I always check to see if they have something like that, because if you can get brand new, go for it. And one of the reasons why is because in 99 they changed this to where the exhaust fits around it. And in 98 in KX, and I'm a huge KX guy, and the exhausts go inside the cylinder, and I still have the original cylinder. Let's go over here and take a look. So this is the original cylinder, and I'm just not a fan of that, because a lot of these guys, you know, by the time I get the bike, you know, somebody cared for it somewhere along the line, and after a while they just don't care about it, and the exhaust seals wear out, and then these have a tendency to wear out a little bit, and you get a lot of seepage. In any two-stroke, you're gonna get seepage. It's gonna happen, but I like those much better. It's a tighter fit, and if you care for it and change the seals like you're supposed to, you should never have a problem. So with this particular bike, and like all my bikes, everything is brand new. You know, I still have the original cases to it, and everything inside, all the bearings have been replaced. The transmission was taken apart. It was cleaned. I inspected it, looked for cracks, chips, anything, you know, get the magnifying glass out. I look for everything. I love going with the Boysen Reed rad valve. You know, the V-Force Reed is also very good. They both do the same thing. They are not different in any way except for the name. And what I like about Boysen Reed is that the metal piece, or this is cast aluminum up here, right? That's not going to wear out. The boot will wear out, but the boot's $25. If you, with V-Force, you've got to buy the entire boot, which is, you know, $100, $200, whatever it costs for V-Force, or you just buy the stock carburetor boot, and they're getting very hard to find. And if you don't want a China part on your bike, then go with the Boysen Reed if you can get one. And that's just what I like to do. Brand new Electron carburetor, Race Tech spring. It's set up for I want to say a 125 or 130 to 160 pound rider. It is a 125. I had intentions of selling it, but I always find reasons why not to. Brand new DID non-O-ring chain. You got the primary drive chain guide. Same thing with the sprocket. You know, I've used primary drive kits on other bikes. They work really well, and it comes at a really, really good price. A lot of Tusk stuff on that. Brand new rims or Tusk. Kenda tires. I like them. They're cheap. They work well because, you know, guys will buy my bikes. Some of them ride them, and, you know, they can do whatever they want with the tires. It's up to them. All the brakes have been redone. Brand new brake lines. The sticker kit came out of the UK. Evo MX is who I was using for a while, but with the tariffs and things like that, it got really expensive. So might as well just go to Decal Works or somebody around here. I know Anthony Moore. He has his stuff. ODI bars, I really like them. These are not the fat bars. On the newer bikes I use, on the 03, I will use the podium bars. Emic grips. Moose levers. I really like these levers. They're comfortable. Galfer USA lines. I don't mind them, but you can get Moose. And actually, I've had a lot of good luck with Russell. There's one sitting right up there, and you can actually move. I don't know if this one you can or can't. Yeah, this one I don't think you can. Right there you can. You can move them. You can adjust them. You take a wrench and these adjust. I don't think the Galfer has that. That one up there may not have it. I know the rears do because I've used them on a bunch of bikes, and I was able to adjust this piece to where it wasn't rubbing on the shock. I did an 87 CR 125, and I got a Russell for him, and I was able to adjust it. Tusk foot pegs, the brake lever, brand new FMF Gold Series, fatty, and you know, everything, and the shocks have been rebuilt, shims, everything, the whole 9 yards. I do it all right here. Same thing there with the rear shock. I do everything in-house. I have the nitrogen and everything. I've just learned how to do it. And I also, my snowmobile guy, the shock guy, has been great to me, and he's taught me a lot about rebuilding shocks. Completely rebuilt, you know. So when you're buying one of my bikes, everything in this is brand new. Now, let's go over the carburetor and why there's Electron on a bike like this. You know, these aren't really sought after bikes. So when I bought the bike, it came with two carburetors. It came with I think it was probably a 96 carburetor, which is not compatible with these. I think it's 97 and up. I'm not sure. But I got rid of that carb. I didn't like it. It was really ratty. And it had a TMX. And the guy told me that's what his brother had on it, because the motor was blown when I got it. And he said that's what he was using. So after I rebuilt the carburetor, like I do on all of them, I went to FMF, I jetted it, I got the right pilot jets, I did everything that I'm supposed to do. This is obviously a stock cylinder, and I was getting black soup running out of the exhaust. So I contacted FMF, I explained what was going on, we broke everything down again, redid everything, cleaned it all out, and it did fix the problem. I don't remember what the jetting was in that, but it didn't take long for it to not start right, didn't idle right, still blowing soup. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to give Electron a call. They sent this out, and it fixed the problem. So I still couldn't figure out what was going on with the carb. Now, one of the things that you guys, when you have that problem, all right, I'm going to show you. You see this oil in here? Okay, you see all that? That came out of that bike, out of its exhaust. The same thing, not as much, came out of this one. So you want to clean it out, take acetone, stick it in there, shake it up really good, and dump it out. It'll just evaporate out of there. So once I cleaned everything out so it wasn't blowing soup, the bike started running phenomenal. And there's only about an hour, just over an hour on it. And I didn't like the way that it was running. So I made phone calls to people that I know, and we discussed it and this and that. It had a shorty on there, okay? I left that part out. And I decided that I probably should do something different with the silencer, but what? And I happened to see a YouTube video where they were building, and I think it was in the UK, they were building a YZ250. It was a newer one. It was a brand new bike, but it was built to go supercrossing. They had everything done to it. They had the raw pipe on it. I don't remember which one it was, but they kept the stock silencer because apparently it's better for the bike. It's more compatible with everything. So I bought, and I got a really good deal on it, the Turbine 2-core silencer. It's quieter, but I'll tell you what, it really made a huge improvement on the bike. So like I said, this is what I like to do with the bikes. Everything is new, where I can buy brand new. It's better to buy new than it is to buy a part that's 30, 40 years old. So that's that. It may be for sale, I don't know. And this came into my shop. This is a 1986 Works replica. It was all original. All original. This is a Survivor. The tires weren't original, they were replaced. And the bike is no longer fully original because some things just wear out. The carburetor boot on it, I think I kept all the OEM parts. So the carburetor boot, you look closely right in here. Okay, it's dry rotting, it's cracking, and it'll be a matter of time before it gets into here. It had the original stem bearings in it. It still had the original grease, and they had to get replaced. Not that they were seized up. It was just, let's see if I can, all of this down in here, all up in here, and you could see some of it in here. All the grease was coming out of it, so I decided to replace those. And this is why it was here. It was here for suspension, you know, take the swing arm off, and those bearings were completely rotten in there. They were probably original to the bike. And these actually have cert fittings. I think that's what they're called, the grease fittings. And the previous owner to this guy was actually doing that, but right in here in the swing arm, they don't have that. So it was completely rotten, so I had to replace those. And the exhaust seals were completely shot, and as you can see, that goes in there. And this was, you couldn't even see these springs. There's so much grease and buildup and everything like that on it. The bike was just covered in mud. So put in new nitrogen, new oil. I didn't have to replace the seal because the previous owner of this bike did have the shocks rebuilt, so it didn't, I guess it didn't come in fully OEM. So that was a nice surprise, and it was cheaper for them. Put a brand new primary chain on it. This is an O-ring chain, and one of the things with O-ring chains is up in here. Okay, when you put your O-ring chain on, make sure it's not rubbing on there. I've had a lot of cases where people don't pay attention to that, and you know, it does damage. So I had to replace the vent tubes because they were original, rock hard, and I had to replace the gas line. This is all I had was blue. And like I said, you saw the oil that came out of the exhaust. Why did that happen? Because in here, when I took it apart, I noticed the oil was very thin. And behind the filter, and I can show you on this one, behind the filter, this was just, it was full of sand all the way around it. So what I did is I called the guy and I said, what kind of oil did you use? And he says, 2-stroke oil. Yeah, don't do that. Not a good idea to use 2-stroke oil on your filter. You need to use a really, really good, I'm using PJ1 now, foam filter and the cleaner. And the reason why I went with PJ1 is because the Maximus stinks really bad. It's strong. So I went with brand new uni filter in there, cleaned everything out, and it was a mess. And I was fortunate enough that the carburetor was full of sand, and I don't even know how, but it never got to the reeds. And the bike had, they said they had an idling issue. It idle up, it idle down, it idle up, it idle down. And I took it apart, and they had in the fiber reeds that were in there, the Boysen reeds, and it doesn't need that. It needs, you can go with stock. So I switched more to stock because those fiber reeds they're notorious for blowing holes in it, and they had a chunk about, I don't know, the whole corner was missing, and it didn't really do any damage to the cylinder, so that's a good thing. And the compression is at 150 in it, which is good. So we cleaned all that out, and I replaced what needed to be replaced in the carburetor, the reeds, everything like that. Cleaned all the oil out of the exhaust, new seals. It didn't have the boots on here. You know, this is important to have these boots on here because you're gonna chip up your forks. And these old ones, you know, just finding something in really good shape like these right here. This is for a 84 CR 250R that there's the wrong shims that were in here, because there's shims that I think they go probably about to there. And it has something to do with the tension in there back in the day. That's what they used. And somebody had made them. So we ended up having to buy a donor set of forks. They're over on the side here. But you look at this. If any of this gets scratched, broken, anything, or gouged up, it's no good. It's going to leak. So this bike also had the original oil for the brake lines. Like, it was 40 years old, and it took, I probably got 4 hours cleaning the rear, the front, the cylinders, and the lines, and it was a mess. And typically doesn't take that long, but it was so bad in there. And unfortunately, his cable was leaking. It was exposed right here. You can see that. You really don't want that. You want to make sure that this stays down there, and it has a pinhole in it somehow. And it all leaked down, and that was it. So we had to find one. I was able to find a Gelfer. For some reason, I don't know, it was on eBay. It wasn't from Gelfer. I got a good price on it, and it fits perfectly. So, and the type of riding they do, he wanted new tires, so I bought him the dual sport tires. He explained to me that they mainly do a lot of woods riding to get where they're going, and these have really good ratings. They're older guys, so they're not ripping on it. And I told him, if you don't like them, I'll take them back, and I'll buy you what you want. I'll just take these tires and I'll use them for something else. So the bike fired right up. It runs really well, and this will be leaving, I think, next week, and the owner will be dropping off another bike. So, but in the meantime, I've been working on my stuff. It's usually winter projects, but I'm just doing things to keep occupied out here. And that's it for now. I got to get some more parts in, and we'll see what's going on with the CR. So, and that's where we have it, man. All right. Thank you much, guys.